My Timmies! My Timmies! My Timmies! Good morning, my beautiful Timmies. I hope you all had a great cry this weekend, crying all of your problems away. I'm here to pander to you some more. I'm just kidding. I do have a lot of things to talk about, actually. I've been very, very busy the past couple days, and I have not been able to make a couple videos, but I'm going to be talking about the PSA grading situation. I'm going to be talking about a few other things I've noticed going on. So just bear with me. Probably a couple videos are going to be coming out in the next couple days. I promise you guys I will get around to it. Today's video is pretty long overdue. I am going to be answering all of the questions that you guys asked me. I made a post like a week ago maybe, asking you guys to ask me anything. I'm gonna try and answer as many questions as I can. You guys really came through with the questions. Like, there's over 120 comments in here. I really didn't expect this many questions, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, but I kind of wanted to make this video because I am like really new here, and there's like 8,000 of you here that are for some reason interested in what I have to say about things. And I'm sure people have questions. Like, I get a lot of questions that are just like, where did you come from? I just came here to fuck some shit up. No, I'm just kidding. I really didn't come here with that intention. I've been in the hobby for a long time. I've just never really been a content creator in this space. And since I'm new here and I'd like to connect with you guys better, I'm going to answer all of your questions today, or most of them. I'm gonna try. I'm going to start at the bottom, so like the very first question, and work my way up. And the first question is, do you need a last name? A new last name? I wouldn't mind a new last name. My last name is McClelland, and it's quite long, and I have to spell it every time someone asks me what it is, like at a store or if I'm signing up for something. Wouldn't mind a new last name, not gonna lie. The next question is, who is the most overrated Pokemon in your opinion and the most underrated Pokemon in your opinion? By the way, love you and Romy. I watch all your TikToks. Thank you. Most overrated Pokemon is obviously Umbreon at the moment. It used to be Charizard, but I really think Umbreon has dethroned Charizard for that role. The title of most overrated Pokemon has been stripped from Charizard. Most underrated Pokemon is Chingling. Does anyone know Chingling? Guys, this is Chingling, okay? He's really cute. I'm not going to lie to you. I forget what gen he's from. It's gotta be 3 or 4. Chingling only has 3 Pokemon cards in the entire TCG. None of them are like cool cards either. They're just like commons. Chingling, one of the lost souls of the Pokemon TCG. Okay, let me just address all the "are you single" comments. No, I'm not single. I have a family. I'm not gonna get super duper personal here, but I am not single. I am very happily in a relationship. Why do you hate Palossand? Unforgivable. I don't hate Palossand necessarily. I mean, it's definitely not one of my favorite Pokemon designs. My problem with the inanimate object Pokemon is it feels lazy. Like, it feels like an easy way out. They're just taking an object and being like, oh, that could be a Pokemon, you know what I mean? And I know everybody, everyone's always telling me about the yokai and the spirits in Japan. Yes, I'm aware of the lore. I still find that the designs are pretty lazy, and that's just my opinion. But Palossand, I just I'm not the biggest fan of. Do you like Sonic the Hedgehog? Yes, I do. I'm a big Sonic fan, yes. I'm not one of those like weird toxic Sonic fans though, but I absolutely love Sonic. I always played the video games when I was young, but also the new movies slap. I don't know if y'all have seen them, but they're good as fuck. Do you like Piplup? Yes. Who doesn't like Piplup? If you don't like Piplup, you're a little bit weird. And I don't think we can be friends. Okay, there's a lot of this same question, so hopefully that knocks out a bunch of them like all in one here. Do you play the Pokemon games, and what is your favorite Pokemon game? Yeah, I play almost all of the Pokemon games. I have played almost all of them. The very first video games I ever played were on the Game Boy Color. I actually have them behind me. They are complete in box and everything. And I think the first one I played was Pokemon Red, but my favorite was always Pokemon Yellow because the Pikachu follows you around. And I always thought that was really cute. When I was a kid, I thought that was so cool. A few honorable mentions here to some of my other favorite games from my childhood. Pokemon Snap on the Nintendo 64. One of my all-time favorite games ever. I have had so much fun playing that game, especially with my siblings when I was little. It was just like the best time. We were always trying to one-up each other, taking pictures of Pokemon. It was so much fun. And there was a really cute game on the GameCube called Pokemon Channel. And I still have it actually back there on my shelf. Fun game. I always thought it was cute. I liked the cutesy ones when I was little. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon one of my favorite games ever too. So yeah, but I've played literally like every game from Pokemon Yellow all the way to like modern day. I haven't played the new one just yet, but I will get around to it. Do you have any other hobbies? Yeah, I do. I have a lot of other hobbies. I mean, I would call art a hobby, but it's at this point it is my full-time job. I'm a full-time artist. I sell art on my Etsy shop. But yeah, I mean, you guys can see behind me, not all of my shelves or items in this room are Pokemon. I have a lot of other interests that I collect as well. I'm really into retro video games. I collect these stupid fucking things. They're just like potatoes dressed as different things, and I have like almost every figure that they've ever made as well. I collect Hamtaro stuff, I collect Animal Crossing stuff, all vintage stuff, and I am a big Neopets collector, so a lot of hobbies. Pokemon has always been my favorite though. What are my top 10 favorite Pokemon? That is a difficult question for me to answer. I don't really have a top 10 list, but I'll just name 10 Pokemon that I love. How about that? I'm not gonna put them in order. One day I will compile a list for you, but for now I'm just gonna name 10 Pokemon that I love. Gengar is one of my favorites. He probably is my favorite. Usually when people ask me who my favorite Pokemon is, I say Gengar. Teddiursa, Oddish, Luxray, Sudowoodo, Snorunt, Jigglypuff, Kabutops, Sandshrew / Sandslash, and Snorlax. There you go. There's 10 Pokemon that I love. Honorable mentions, shout out to Pachirisu, Chingling, Fido. God, there's so many I love, so it's so hard to only pick 10. Also, I forgot to add Hitmonlee, by the way, to my favorite Pokemon. He's in my top 10. I'm sorry, I love Hitmonlee. What is your favorite common card? It's the Angry Sudowoodo card. I forget which set it's from. It is a vintage set, I believe. I'm gonna put a picture right here of Angry Sudowoodo. He looks so pissed. Like, Sudowoodo is ready to fuck you up. Who would win a fight between Pokemon and Digimon? Look, I don't know much about Digimon. I know they're digital monsters, so I don't know like anything about them. Does that mean that they like can't die? They have like a digital makeup? Like maybe they just like come like game over and come back to life? I don't know how it works for them. Pokemon can die. Like we've seen Pokemon die. I don't even know how that would work if they're digital monsters fighting like real ones. Like I don't know. I'm interested to hear everyone's opinions because I don't know much about Digimon. Let me know who you think would win, because I'd like to be objective here. Okay, I don't like Digimon necessarily, but I also don't want to just be like, oh well, Digimon would fucking lose because they suck, they're not Pokemon. But I don't know. Let me know in the comments what y'all think. Do you remember the first Pokemon card you had, and do you still have it? Yes, I do. Here he is in all his glory. My base set Charizard was my first Pokemon card. I have had this card since I was 6 years old, which is just insane to me. And I mean, when I was a kid, I kept it in pretty decent condition. I used to not let anybody touch it. I used to even not let myself touch it. It was not allowed to come out of my binder. I almost traded him one time for a holo Alakazam, and I backed out of the trade at the last second. But, you know, at the time I was pretty thirsty for the Alakazam. I really fucking wanted that card. Yeah, I mean, he wouldn't get like a 10 or anything, but he's in good shape. Like, he's got some whitening on the edges, but there's no creases. He's got a little bit of hollow scratching. Basically what had happened was my older sister was turning like 12 or 13. She was kind of over Pokemon. I was still little, I was only like 6, and I was very into Pokemon. I was watching the show, I was playing the games. She decided she didn't want her cards anymore, so she gave me her Pokemon cards. So technically my first card, I mean, was her binder, but this was always my favorite one. Like, I wouldn't let even my parents touch that card. Like, it was so special to me. Where do you see the hobby in 10 years? I mean, hopefully not in the state it's in right now. I think in 10 years Pokemon will still be kicking. I don't think it's like, I think it's safe for me to say Pokemon will still be pretty prominent. I think it'll still be thriving in 10 years. Do I think it will be thriving forever? I really actually don't, and it makes me sad to think about, but I don't think this generation of kids loves Pokemon as intensely as we did when we were kids. I'm not saying they don't like it, they don't love it or anything, and I know there's a couple kids out there that are like huge fans, but I think eventually, like when those kids are grown-ups, and maybe when our generation's no longer around, I think it'll be much different than it is right now. Who's your favorite Pokemon content creator?
Hey, massive legend here. Long time no see. I wish I was fucking dead.
Max Mofo Pokemon has always been my favorite Pokemon content creator. There is no one that even comes close. Unfortunately, he's been missing for many, many months. If anyone has any information on his whereabouts, please contact the authorities. No, for real, I miss him so much. I hope he comes back one day. In this horrible time that we're in, we could really use Max Mofo Pokemon to, lighten the load here. Do you have a favorite episode in the anime? I have quite a few. I think my favorite, or one that stands out to me, is the Tower episode where they meet Ghastly, Gengar, and Haunter. I really like that one. That one always kind of stuck with me. And obviously the Squirtle Squad episode is also one of my favorites, where the Squirtles like are straight up basically gang members. They're like tying people to trees and stealing their shit. They ran that town. They ran that shit. If you were in charge of the Pokemon Company for a day, what is something you would implement or change? That is a wild question. I don't think I'm in any position to ever be in charge of the Pokemon Company and their decision making. I'd probably print to demand the cards. You know, allow as many pre-orders as people want. I would print the fuck out of it. Then there wouldn't be any shitty behavior going on in the hobby. There wouldn't even be scalpers probably. And we could all live peacefully and enjoy our nerdy shit together. And the second thing I do is give Chingling another card. Chingling deserves a 4th card. 3 cards in the entire TCG, come on. Did you ever dabble in Yu-Gi-Oh? Yes, but only when I was a kid. I loved the anime, and I actually had Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I had like a good amount of them, but I sold them at a garage sale like a couple years later for like $5, like the whole thing for like $5. L me. I definitely regret it. Romy is really into Yu-Gi-Oh though. She has a whole Yu-Gi-Oh shelf out in the office here. Yeah, she's a way bigger fan than I am, but I do love Yu-Gi-Oh. I think it's awesome. Never played the card game with Yu-Gi-Oh or anything, but I really enjoyed the show. Like the show was probably my favorite part about it. What made you decide to be a YouTuber, and how are you enjoying it so far? It's been interesting. I'll give a brief like synopsis here of how I even ended up here. I've always been in the Pokemon hobby, so I've always been an observer of the Pokemon community on YouTube. I always like debated if I should make it my own channel because I'm also like very passionate about Pokemon. I don't know. I always thought that I needed like better equipment, or that I just like wasn't really ready for it. I kind of passed on the idea for a while, but I did eventually make a TikTok account just a couple years ago where I mostly talked about anime and other nerdy shit I'm into, but I did talk about Pokemon on there as well, here and there. But it was a great outlet for me. I'm not gonna lie, I love it so much. I love TikTok. I think it's great. I have found such an awesome community on TikTok. Like it's such a safe space for me. They're just amazing. I love everybody over there. They have supported me in so many ways, like emotionally, but also they have supported my art business. Like everybody that I met on TikTok is just wonderful and amazing. And when TikTok was going to be banned, I kind of like panicked and I was like, oh my god, I'm going to lose my outlet for creating content, and I'm going to be losing a community of people that I feel safe talking to about nerdy things. So I made a YouTube channel and I decided to just fucking go for it. I honestly have enjoyed this experience so far. I think I didn't expect to get this many subscribers and supporters in such a short amount of time. So I mean, I have you guys to thank for that. Thank you guys so much for like hearing what I have to say and leaving like all the positive comments that you guys do. You guys are amazing. But bottom line is, I love Pokemon and I want a space to talk about it with other people. Which Pokemon set did you enjoy collecting the most? The hardest one for me to collect was probably the EX Team Rocket Returns set. Quite a difficult set to like fill and, you know, get the full set of. And I mentioned the EX Team Rocket Returns because I do like the chase. Like, I like when it's hard to collect it. I also like when it's easy, but, you know, there's something to be said about the chase of it. But my favorite sets to collect are probably, like, the more obscure things. Like, the Pokemon Weekly cards, the Pokemon Rumble cards, the, like, McDonald's sets, and things like that. Those are really fun for me for some reason. The Vending series, the VS series, like, those are all, like, really fun sets. They were really fun to collect. So I'm into the obscure stuff. I really do like, and I think my next like really weird obscure venture is going to be the trying to get a complete set of the chocolate Meiji cards. I have a couple of them graded. I have the Gengar, the Charizard, the Squirtle, and the Jigglypuff, I'm pretty sure. But they're all graded. I kind of just want like a whole binder of them. Like if I can find all of them. Oh, I also have the Ash and Misty and Pikachu one. That's really cute. I think that'll be my next like obscure weird collecting venture. Do you have a favorite Pokemon artist? I sure do. Her name is Kiko Keiko Fukuyama. And please correct me if I'm saying her name wrong. I don't ever mean to pronounce anybody's names incorrectly. She made the entire Southern Islands collection, one of my favorite collections of all time. I also collect the Pokemon postcards that feature her art, and she's just responsible for some of my favorite artwork in the hobby. Do you play the TCG or just collect? I used to play the TCG. I have not for quite some time. Pizza or cake? Yeah, definitely pizza. I'm not a cake person. I only like ice cream cake. I'm sorry if that offends you. There's people out there that just love their cake, but I'm definitely I'm a pizza bitch for sure. What is your son's favorite set? Honestly, Cassian is happy to open literally any packs of Pokemon cards. He literally doesn't really care. He's always really hyped up about the new sets that come out, but lately he's definitely had his eyes on Evolving Skies. I keep trying to explain to him, buddy, like, those are like $30 a pack. He sees that as like one of the better sets. Scarlet and Violet, the one I think he enjoyed opening the most was probably 151. He had a lot of fun opening that set. The boy has taste. That's all I can say. But genuinely, he's happy to open literally anything. He literally opened probably like hundreds of those trick-or-treat packs just because he wanted to open Pokemon cards. Do you have a favorite alternate art from like the Sword and Shield era? That's what this next question is. And I do. It's gotta be Gengar. I know the card is a little overhyped and I get it, but I really do love the artwork on this, and I pulled this one myself, so this is definitely my favorite. By the way, if you guys want to watch me pull that card, I did post it as a short at some point. Do you see yourself doing more videos in the future displaying your collection? Like one video doing your Pokemon card collection and another doing your video game collection, so on and so forth. That would be interesting considering the diversity of what you have shown so far. I'm really happy that a lot of you are interested in seeing my collection. I have worked very hard on it for many years. Yes, I'd love to show my collection. The problem with this is we moved a year ago, and I know a year seems like a long time, but I still don't have my room together. I still don't have it set up the way I want. I just got this TV hung on the wall. I don't have all the furniture that I would like to have in here, like to be able to display things properly. I really need some glass figure cases. I really need a TV stand. I need 2 more shelves over here in this blank space on this wall. Yeah, blank space on the wall. So yes, I would love to show my collection. It does scare me a little bit to show it. Just feel like I've been on the DL for so long. I think I'm ready to show it. I just need some time to actually get the room to look nice. I really have to get my shit together in here and get stuff properly displayed. What do you think of light Pokemon from the Neo Destiny set? The light and dark Pokemon are some of my favorite things that the TCG has ever done. The artwork on those cards is just amazing. I really like this question. What do you value most in a card when choosing to collect it? Age, condition, artwork, rarity, the Pokemon species itself, etc. I think when choosing to collect a card, well, first of all, do I like the card? Because for me, a lot of times it's just about the artwork. I've been very intentional with the cards and sets that I've collected. But yeah, I think the artwork's probably my #1 factor when choosing to collect a card. There are certain sets that I collected simply because of nostalgia reasons and just wanting to have, you know, the cards I had when I was a kid. But I will say scarcity does play a factor for me when I'm deciding what to add to my collection. I do not put out big numbers for cards unless they are truly a scarce card. But what does it for me in the hobby is when I have something that only maybe like 20 other people have. You know what I'm saying? The scarcity factor is really fun for me. I would say that the artwork and the scarcity factor are probably the 2 things I value the most when deciding what to pick up. Will you show us your collection? I want to know what's on the walls. At the moment, I gotta tell you guys, there's not much on the walls. It's not that I don't have things to go on the walls. I have a ton of stuff I need to put up on the walls. I just haven't done it. I'm going to get around to it. I think that the stuff that goes on the walls are some of my absolute favorite pieces of my collection that I have. Are you getting the Switch too? Eventually, probably. I don't feel it necessary at the moment. Now, if they drop like an Animal Crossing game that I can only play on the Switch 2, then yeah, I'll be getting the Switch 2. But basically, until that happens, I think I'll keep my old Switch. What's your favorite vintage set to collect? The file number cards? I'm not exactly 100% sure the correct term for what that set is called, but it's basically a bunch of cards that, and I'll show you guys them one day, that are the very first artworks that were ever kind of like created for the Pokemon. Like Charmander still has like scales on his back. Eevee has 3 tails in the card. It's pretty cool. The Ditto one is fucking terrifying. I'll pop that one on the screen up for you right now. Nightmare fuel right there. Probably one of my favorite vintage sets to collect. It's just really interesting to see their original ideas and designs for those Pokemon. Y'all are crazy. If you had to collab with one, would it be Leonheart or Nostalgianomics? Guys, neither of them would ever collab with me at this point. Especially Alex. There's a lot of hard feelings coming from him. What is your favorite Pokemon related memory you have? Okay. One of my favorite memories of my childhood was on the school bus. So I used to bring my Pokemon binder in my backpack with me to school like every day in case anybody wanted to trade with me at school or on the school bus or on the playground. Back then, my school allowed that sort of thing to go on. We were allowed to bring our Pokemon cards to school and like trade at like free time but where I got the most business done as a 6 and 7-year-old girl was on the school bus. The big kids in 4th and 5th grade, they sat in the back of the school bus. And I remember one day somebody had the Charizard EX, an older boy, he had a Charizard EX from Fire Red Leaf Green. And guys, the way that my tiny child soul needed that card, I wanted it so bad. I overheard them talking about it, and me, this little like shy ginger girl, I think I was in like 1st grade too, like I was little. I grew a pair of balls or something that day because I got up and walked to the back of the bus and I straight up asked him if he would trade his Charizard to me for something in my binder, and they all laughed at first, probably because they assumed that my binder didn't have absolute heat in it. When I pulled my binder out and I opened it up and I showed him, they all like stopped laughing. They actually said that my binder was like pretty cool, and I just remember feeling like so good in that moment, just like validated in my nerdiness. And he did end up trading that Charizard EX with me. I forget what I gave him. I got that Charizard EX. Alright y'all, we're gonna end on this one, but which Pokemon would you exile to a deserted island? And which Pokemon do you think would be arrested if it were real? I would send Jinx to a deserted island for sure. Probably my least favorite Pokemon that exists is Jinx. And a Pokemon that would get arrested? I hate to say it, but I think a lot of us are thinking the same thing right now, right? I think Mr. Mime would get arrested. Oh god. Kind of makes me sad to say that, because like, yeah, his design is like really creepy. But in the anime, he was so cute. He was just like sweeping in the background with Ash's mom. I have mixed feelings about Mr. Mime, but I do feel like he'd get arrested. I know some of you guys were thinking the same thing, okay? Alright guys, I'm gonna wrap it up there. This was a super long video. Sorry it went on so long. There was a lot of questions. I didn't even end up getting around to all of them. So I apologize if I missed your question. Hopefully I answered like most of the things you guys were interested in hearing. As always, I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'm like rapidly approaching 10,000 subscribers. I really am going to do a giveaway for 10,000 subscribers. Hold on. When I hit 10K, look, I know it's not much, but I can't find cards in the store, so we're gonna have to settle for something I have back here. And this is one of the better things I have back there on my little store stand. When I hit 10K, I'm going to be giving this away to a subscriber. I will make a post about this at a later date, but thank you guys so much for even getting me to the point where I can do a giveaway. Go ahead and hit subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!